can save your business and increase your profitability. Productivity is the key to your personal and organizational growth and development.
National Productivity Center, your one-stop business solution providers.
President Bola Tinubu has ordered the Inspector General of Police to ensure the apprehension of the perpetrators of the killings of Ekiti mourners as Ekiti governor today meets with the IG. Plus, the National Assembly wants to begin constitutional amendment as PDP governors are advocating state policing. PDP governors say asking for state policing will be dissecting what it means for the national security of the country. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Wakimale in Abuja. We're getting some statement coming from the Nigerian police, especially coming from the very top. The president is giving a directive, and we're seeing some massive deployment to Ekiti State following the recent security situation where 2 Ekiti monarchs were killed. Sadly, it's got some debate on the floor of the National Assembly, but there is an agreement between both chambers of the National Assembly on the way to go. There is an urgent need to nip these issues in the body. It does look like the police are also not leaving anything to chance because there is a heavy deployment to Ekiti. This gets our attention tonight. Plus, what does the Bola Tinubu government have in store for Nigeria in the area of health? It's one of the key pillars of human capital development. If health is not guaranteed, health, they say, is wealth. But what does the president have in store for health, especially the insurance of it? Can you keep getting your money out of the pocket to pay for hospital bills when you need it, or when you don't even have the strength to work for the money to take care of yourself? These are some of the issues that we'll be probing tonight. Stick around with me. First and foremost, before we open up the conversation, let's check out some of your political roundup stories.
Dr. Olaide Adelami, a former deputy clerk of the National Assembly, has today been sworn in as the deputy governor of Ondo State. Adelami was last Tuesday picked by the state governor, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, as the deputy governor, after which his name was sent to the State House of Assembly for screening and ratification.
Our scorecard has shown that the people of Ondo State are pleased with our various policies and actions so far.
There is palpable tension in Jos following the discovery that the People's Democratic Party logo is missing on the ballot papers for the rerun elections for Plateau North senatorial seat and the federal constituency of Bassa, Jos North, scheduled for Saturday the 3rd of February 2024. The Independent National Electoral Commission, National Commissioner supervising Plateau, Kaduna, Nasarawa and the Federal Capital Territory, Malam Mohammed Haruna, explained at the Central Bank Jos, where materials for the elections are being distributed, that the electoral body is in adherence to the appeal court order which excluded the People's Democratic Party from participating in the rerun elections. However, the Inter-Party Advisory Council and the People's Democratic Party representatives at the venue of the distribution exercise condemned and rejected the omission, describing it as an action that is capable of causing chaos in the state that is yet to recover from the crisis of attacks. The Independent National Electoral Commission has commenced the distribution of sensitive materials to some states participating in this Saturday's by-election. In Yobe State, INEC has commenced the distribution of sensitive materials across the 7 local government areas that make up the zone. The resident electoral commissioner in the state, Mr. Ibrahim Abdullahi, in company of INEC officials, representatives of political parties and civil society organizations, inspected the sensitive materials at the Central Bank of Nigeria, Damaturu branch. In Niger State, the commission is set to deliver sensitive materials to Kutugi town ahead of the 3rd February State House of Assembly rerun election. The resident electoral commissioner of INEC in the state, Mr. Ahmed Garki, shortly after stakeholders' inspection of the sensitive materials in Mina, said the commission will continue to open up the entire process leading to the election. Similarly, in Bauchi State, INEC has begun the distribution of sensitive materials in preparation for a rerun election on Saturday in 3 local government areas. The distribution took place at the premises of the Central Bank of Nigeria and was witnessed by security personnel, party agents, anti-graft agencies, and other stakeholders. And from the southwest in Oyo State, ahead of Saturday's by-election in Shaki West local government area of the state, INEC has taken delivery of sensitive materials needed for this Saturday's by-election. The resident electoral commissioner in Oyo State, Mr. Adeniran Tella, says INEC has taken delivery of all the materials needed for a successful election on Saturday, noting that security arrangement has also been made for a hitch-free process. Equally, in Cross River State, resident commissioner Professor Gabriel Yomere has promised that the commission is prepared to conduct a free and fair election in the state.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Following the recent security situation in Ekiti State and an earlier statement where the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kaude Egbetokun, ordered strategic deployments to deal with the incident, the President Bola Tinubu today has ordered the IG to ensure that all the perpetrators are apprehended and caused to face the full wrath of the law. This was made known during the visit of the Ekiti State Governor, Governor Biodun Oyebanji, and the Senate Majority Leader, Senator Opoyemi Bamidele, to the Inspector General's office at the force headquarters today in Abuja. It was addressing the incident in a bid to finding a lasting solution to them. Well, the IG has now, we understand, ordered the deployment of police helicopter, armored personnel carriers, IRT, ST as operatives, and police mobile force personnel to augment the manpower already deployed to Ekiti for the special operations. This is special in the sense that it bothers the mind, especially because it caused a lawmaker crying on the floor and moving the motion on how to tackle insecurity in the country, considering the spate of kidnapping as we've seen recently. But again, the National Assembly says they will resume or commence amendment to the Constitution. PDP governors are asking for one thing. They met when they visited their counterpart, the governor of Plateau State, Governor Caleb Mutfwang, and the PDP governors are unanimous on their plea, and they are asking for state policing when the amendment to the Constitution commences. Take a listen to the governor of Bauchi State.
When we brought people or hunters to help us with the security, they will accuse us of doing what they call killings without judicial process. But certainly, if the federal government is doing very well, this thing will not happen. So we ask them to sit up so that there wouldn't be any suspicion of extrajudicial killings. And we urge the federal government, because in uniform we believe we should be allowed as governors to have state police, because we know the nooks and crannies of this. Good governance means safety and security even before development.
All right. You can hear the governor of Bauchi State. Let's get a sense of what the police is doing in this respect, especially stemming from the conversation around the presidential directive to the IGP. And we'll be getting some legal perspectives and insight into what the Nigerian National Assembly should be looking into when they commence amendment to the Constitution, especially when governors of the PDP are asking for state policing. Of course, I have tonight joining me Mr. Muyiwa Adejobi, who is the Police Force Public Relations Officer. He joins us live here in Abuja. So thank you so much indeed, Mr. Adejobi, for your time tonight.
Sure, good evening. Good evening, Nigerians.
Thank you so much indeed. And I'll be joined also to give legal perspective, a very senior lawyer, Mr. Kayode Adeluola, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, who joins us virtually from Lagos. Thank you so much, Leonard C., for joining us tonight. Appreciate it. Let's begin. There was a directive from the president. What was it like?
Well, in furtherance of our effort to make sure that we fortify every community in Ekiti State as a sort of incident of the killings of the traditional rulers and kidnap of the pupils and teachers of a school in Ekiti. The president gave directive to the Inspector General of Police to do adequate deployment and, of course, make sure the perpetrators of these heinous acts are apprehended at cost to face the full wrath of the law. And the governor of Ekiti State, accompanied by the Senate's majority leader, came to the office of the IGP today, and there was a short security meeting to see how we can do adequate deployment. Earlier today, the IGP has given directive that the Assistant Inspector General of Police be posted to Zone 17. Zone 17 commands Ondo and Ekiti State. So we have a new AIG in charge of that place, Beno Ashabi, who has been mandated to proceed to Akure at the headquarters and move immediately to Ekiti, to relocate temporarily to Ekiti State to coordinate all these coordinated activities, operational activities of the police, and to be supported by other security agencies.
So there's a resident commissioner of police there?
Yes, there's a commissioner of police who is in charge of Ekiti State Command. But the AIG controls Ekiti and
the most senior officer, definitely.
The most senior officer, so that he is, that's the style, because ordinarily the AIGs are to supervise their commissioners of police in their jurisdiction.
Administratively.
Like that's what the IGP did in Plateau State too. The AIG in charge of Zone 4 was moved to Plateau, Jos, to go and coordinate the activities in charge of that place. So it's always a tradition that when we have issues in our commands, the supervisory AIGs are always deployed temporarily to relocate to all those states to take charge of coordinated operation we have. So the IGP has ordered deployment. In fact, today, the chopper has given directive to AIG Air Wing to deploy one of our choppers to Ekiti State, specifically for this assignment. Our target is to make sure we arrest the culprits who actually attacked those traditional rulers and killed 2 of them. The IGP has sent his condolences to the good people of Ekiti State and the government of Ekiti State and the families of the affected traditional rulers, while we are assuring the people of Ekiti State that the kidnapped pupils of those schools and their teachers will be rescued on halt and be reconciled or united with their families. So our deployment is going to comprise PMF men from neighboring states, the squadrons in neighboring states from Mondo, that's Mopo 17, and some of them from Moshun, Mopo 39. All of them will be deployed. The directive is clear already. They are going to move immediately to Ekiti State. And IG has given directives to this in charge of, that is IRT, Intelligent Response Team, DC Mohammed Sanusi, to move his men to that place tomorrow. Some of his men will join our area support too, to give them area support in Ekiti State.
So Mr. Adejobi, that those who will think that isn't this belated, because when these kidnappings and this attack happened in Ekiti State, it's been days, and those perpetrators who must have moved, their footings and the trails would have been swept away for you to be able to trail them.
Don't forget that there was a time we made a statement that the police is having a paradigm shift in our policing system in Nigeria. We're embracing electronic policing, and we do forensic investigation. The common say in forensic investigation is every offense committed leaves a trace, even if they go. There was a case in the north that we did, particularly in Plateau, the killing of one of the Alhaji's one big men in Plateau State. We adopted a forensic analysis and investigation to trace the killers, and they have been apprehended. I paraded them just recently, I think a week ago, here in Abuja. So if they even go, every offense committed in forensic investigation leaves a trace. We surely get them. So, we surely get them.
Yeah. So, I mean, what is your preliminary investigation telling you about the Ekiti case?
Well, generally, we know that hand men attacked them. We wouldn't want to jump to any conclusion or preempt what the investigation will say, whether they are social people or not social people. But now we have 13 suspects arrested so far in connection with that incident, and we are working with them. They're actually giving us reliable and useful information, which we are working on. I'm sure the IGP has directed the CP to have a comprehensive report in that regard. As I speak with you, they went to the bush again today. I'm sure by now, if they are back, they must have even picked some of these criminally minded elements who are causing problem in that area. The CP has been mandated to do thorough press briefing about this and to give us a report adequately. I don't want to preempt what the report from the command will say, but as I speak with you, we have 13 suspects arrested so far, and we are sure we're going to get more of these elements so that we can bring them to book. We will continue to go into all these bush. You know, there's a forest, I think, in that locality, and the command CP has led some of our local hunters and people in the community to actually comb some of these bushes in the area. So we are sure and we're optimistic that we're going to get all of them apprehended and they are going to be brought to book.
One of those things that the Honorable Member Akin Rotimi, the spokesperson of the House, said on the floor is how these guys pass through checkpoints and pass through different installations of security agencies and unchecked, and they perpetrated this evil, and that some of the installations are in fact dead and inactive. What has caused that kind of situation?
Well, Tim, there are so many things when we're discussing issues like this. There are so many parameters and indexes we need to look into. The first thing is, you see that recently the IGP made a statement on how we want to review the use of tinted glasses on our vehicles. This is one of the major problems we have, that Tom, Dick, and Harry in Nigeria we always want to have their vehicles tinted. As yesterday, the IGC had a meeting with some experts and our trained officers on how we can review the issuance of the tinted permit and the likes. We discovered that some of these crimes committed, particularly violent crimes connected to, they are called vehicle-related crimes. You can't have kidnapping, you can't have some of these incidences without the use of vehicles. You can't be mobile, either bike, motorcycle, or tricycle, or vehicles. And most of the vehicles they use now are tinted. They have tinted glasses. And that's why we want to clamp down on the wrongful use of tinted glasses. And we have noticed that some of these vehicles applied at roads are not registered. It's criminal if you use a vehicle on any of our highways and the vehicle is not registered. It's criminal because you have that tendency of committing an offense unchecked. Because
I thought the police give tinted vehicle permits.
No, it's not automatic. It's not automatic. The law is clear that if you have a vehicle, even while importing the vehicle, all tinted glasses must be removed. You don't expect a dealer to be selling out vehicles, whether factory-fitted or man-made fitted
so
vehicles.
Any tinted vehicle
should be removed. However, every law comes with exceptions. The exceptions there are what? 2. You can use tinted glass for security reasons, VIPs. Then the law has empowered the IGP to determine who is that VIP to enjoy this privilege of using tinted glass for security reasons.
So
the second one is
medical.
Yes. The second thing is on medical ground. If you have bad sight, you have to get to a government hospital. They are going to give you a recommendation that you have bad sight, and the police should consider you to use your tinted glasses on your vehicles. So, but now we have noticed that dealers even violate this law. They come in. So the IGP has set up a committee. The report should be with the IGP any moment from now, so that we can clamp down on the misuse of some of these facilities in Nigeria, using vehicles without registration number, using vehicles with numbers covered. How can you go and register your vehicle, yet you still go ahead to cover your number plate? It is criminal, and Nigerians should know that all these things come together to affect our security architecture.
Are men going to start arresting people with cover plates and tinted vehicles?
We'll surely do. We'll surely do. You know that we have ECMR now. We have Department, that's Motor Traffic Division of the Police. They are to work with Federal Road Safety Corps to see how we can actually clamp down on some of these unregistered vehicles that apply our roads in Nigeria. Then, if you cover your number plate, it's a criminal offense. And then, indisciplined use of sirens. You blare sirens anyhow as if everybody is a VIP. No. We need to checkmate all this, because if you don't do it on time, it's going to affect our security arrangement and networking in Nigeria. And that's why the police is taking it more serious, to make sure we clamp down on all these things.
Yeah. I see the kind of deployment that the IG has ordered to Ekiti. There was a driver that was killed recently, a few days ago. There is a bus filled with students that was abducted. Now, when we wonder, what has the police discovered that has caused this rise in kidnappings in Nigeria?
Well, let me start by saying paying ransom is criminal in Nigeria according to the provisions of our law.
But what do you do?
But the problem we have in most cases here is that families of victims in most cases, they don't carry security operatives along. They get scared because kidnappers always work on their psyche. Don't tell security agents. Don't tell the police. If you do, we are going to kill your relation. So, and they keep quiet.
They've been killing people. Abductors have been killing people.
No. Again, to every offense, we need to understand the psychology. What is psychology? Now we need to understand the dimensions into kidnapping. Dimension typology of kidnapping. Before, kidnappers would take kidnapping as a business. They will kidnap, negotiate, get money. It got to a stage. They kidnap, get money, they still go ahead to kill the victim. It got to a stage. They kidnap, get money, kill, still negotiate for the release of the corpse. So we actually need to see them and understand the typology and dimensions in some of this crime to know the psychology behind all this. And it got to a stage that kidnapping is no longer like a business. Hatred, patriotism. How will I kidnap that I want to get money? Then, at any slightest provocation from the family of the victims or from the security agents, then the next thing is to shoot victims and kill them. So we're actually trying to study the typology and the psychology of all these crimes, and the dimension is to kidnapping in Nigeria these days, and it's going to help us because we need to actually do analysis of all these things so that I can get it, try to know where we're actually tackling these problems from. And also, we are having it right now because families of victims are now having belief in the police. See the case of Buhari Shehu. It got to a stage that the father actually went to the wrong place. And he got to a stage. We called him. I spoke to one of them. And I said, can you actually allow me to share your number with so-so person? He said, yes, sure. He has believed in me. And we started from there. And that's why we are able to have a way forward on that case in Buhari and many other cases like that.
What is the root cause of this rise? What has the police discovered that all of a sudden, between December and January, there is a spike in kidnapping?
In most cases, is the topography of some of these areas. See Buhari, for instance. See the topography.
But there are kidnappings in Lagos. Is topography also
what is the waterways?
A factor?
What is the waterways? Don't forget, the kidnapping in Lagos was actually triggered due to the waterways. Do you know that the water from Lagos, the waterway from Lagos leads to Delta, leads to Port Harcourt, leads to Bayelsa? It's the same waterway.
What about Ekiti? Is that the same thing in Ekiti too?
No, Ekiti is forest. And the thing you need to know is that when you study all this, you can't, there are certain things the police cannot do alone.
But these things have been in existence before December and January. The trend has gone up recently. Isn't there a sociological reason for it?
It is not that it's going up like that. Forget what we read in social media. Reality, it is not so. This one in Ekiti is just an isolated case that just happened recently. It's not that something that is happening on a daily basis. No. We have cases that are isolated, but when you read them on social media, you think it is not what you have on record. So we don't have the incident of kidnapping on the rise from Ekiti or anywhere in the southwestern part or in the northeastern or southwestern part of Nigeria. So it is isolated cases.
But Mr. PPRO,
yes,
the cases of abduction has been reported. A security consulting company says that about 68 cases reported in December, 25 reported in November, 71 alone in January. These are the trend.
Chill. I've just told you that's a thing we need to consider when we discuss the issue of kidnapping. And it's not that the security agencies, particularly the police, it's not that we don't rescue. I can tell you that with the record I have, we have many rescues in Abuja, rescues in Plateau, rescues in Kaduna on a daily basis. And I want to put it to you that so far, that the number of total kidnapping suspects arrested, that we even arrested is 139. Those are rescued at 154 in the last 1 month. It is not that we don't rescue, but don't forget, let me tell you.
I'm saying, why has there been a rise?
I have told you that paying for ransom is negative to us. It's not what we should do.
So maybe people think that it's now...
You got to a stage that somebody did crowdfunding on social media. This will not help us in any way. If you do analysis of
that criminal?
It's criminal.
To crowd...
It is criminal. It is criminal. It's not allowed. It's condemned. If the federal government condemned the act, crowdfunding is not allowed. How can you come on social media and be telling people to gather money to go and rescue victims? It kills our morale. It kills the system. And it's not allowed. I say it now, it's condemned. We should not encourage that. The more we encourage payment of ransom, it makes that business, that dirty business, look lucrative.
The SRI,
it should not be encouraged.
The special team that the IG has put together, when will they get to work?
That is SIS. SIS is working, Chion.
Yeah,
you recollect that on 23rd of June, when about the 3rd day into the office of the Inspector General of Police, the IG made it clear in his inaugural speech to the media. He made it press briefing. Paragraph 5 of the speech, you can go to it. The IG declared the establishment of SIS. And immediately started working on it, commanding, selecting commanders, selecting choices, and field commanders. We had to have a meeting. There was a committee set up, and committee gave report. After the report, the IG started working on that. He traveled to the U.S. to go and meet the International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Bureau of the U.S., who is the key partner now to support the IGP in making sure we have funding, support, logistics, including training. I speak with you, the commanders are undergoing training now. After the commanders, all the men are going to be trained. 80% of SIS is from the PMF, that's the punching arm of the force. And the idea is to make sure that we have 1,000 armed policemen trained to be in various states to assist the states commissioners of police.
So they will have area capabilities. They can move easily.
They can move easily. They are going like each time. Don't forget on 29 December last year when IG was in Plateau, IG made pronouncement of establishment and flag off of SIS in Plateau. And I can assure you now, go to Plateau now, you're going to see them working with all the operations we have there, and they have arrested many people. They did a press briefing on that, I think last week. And the same thing in Abuja. Immediately we gave SIS to them in Abuja. Everything started coming down in Abuja, and people in Abuja can actually give kudos to us. Now, today again, we have rescued more than 3 people in Abuja here, and it's on a daily basis. The CP made, you had a press briefing, I think, yesterday. The PRO2 did. I've been doing that to update Nigerians on achievement. So SIS is a very strong core that we're going to have on ground, and it's going to be spread across the states. We have in Plateau now, we have in Abuja, and very soon we want to get to some of the north-central states, so that when we flush them out of Abuja, we don't want them to precipitate, let me use the word precipitate, in all of the neighboring states in the federal capital.
Just for a moment, let me bring in Mr. Kayode Adeluola, who is a senior advocate of Nigeria, because the National Assembly is thinking of amendment to the Constitution, and PDP governors are asking for state police. It's good to speak to you tonight, senior advocate. Give us an understanding of what this will mean for policing, for the citizenry, and for our laws. And I mean, for one, we wonder, why has it been so difficult to put state policing in our law? It's been a recommendation in the confab.
Thank you. First of all, the Constitution today, as we speak, in Section 214, it is, provides that we shall have, that Nigeria will have a police force, and it's known as Nigeria Police Force. And that will be to the exclusion of any other force in any part of the Federation. So what we have regarding our police force as of today is a unitary command from top to bottom, from Abuja to the nook and cranny of our country, Nigeria. And also in Section 215, it says that the Inspector General of Police shall have the command of the police force. In other words, one person determines what goes on in the police force, of course, with his colleagues and the Police Service Commission. But more importantly still, the president has authority to give orders to the Inspector General of Police or any minister he so designates. Now, what that means is that the various state governments cannot police their own respective states. The local governments cannot police their communities. And what does that mean? It means if there's a crime in any local government in Lagos, Zamfara, Cross River, or Anambra State, you must wait for the police under the command of the Inspector General of Police to do anything. Now look at what has happened in Ekiti State. The president gave the marching orders to the Inspector General, who has in turn spoken to those on ground in the various formations around Ekiti State to keep moving. And like you rightly said, before they mobilize, the trail of these guys might be obliterated, although we have the public relations officer there with you saying that no matter what, they will have the forensics to be able to trace them. As for me, I have sufficient faith in the Nigeria Police Force that we have today. However, we have issues about attitude, we have issues about their comportment, we have issues about their relations with the members of the public who they're supposed to protect. Now, if we're going to have state police, are we going to carry this over to the respective states? Would we have a situation where some governors will simply see the state police as their personal bodyguards and gestapo? Would we see the state police men simply being bodyguards to some of our high-profile people? The public relations officer have said something which caught my attention earlier. He says, oh, for the tinted windscreen, an exception could be a VIP. Who is a VIP? We're all Nigerians. We all are Nigerians. You find in some homes as many as 6 or 12 policemen sitting there in the high-ups, and down the road, a crime is committed, and there's no policeman to chase the criminals. So if we're going to have state police, we must have a paradigm shift completely.
Yeah, but let us say, if I may jump in quickly, why has it been difficult for us to achieve? Because if these are being proposed severally, and those who are talking about community policing, the fear that you raised about some elements in the state using the state police apparatus for their own individual and selfish gains is one issue that has been raised. But the question is, What would you say to the National Assembly members? Because it experienced a setback in the 9th National Assembly. What would you say to them this time around to ensure that we get a law that can help police this country adequately, if they are good to go about it this time around?
Sure, what I'll say to them is, let us have state police. Let the rules guiding them be very clear. Very, very clear. And I tell you, if you have state police, it will be one step towards restructuring. It will be one step towards stamping the federal character of our nation, federalism that we are supposed to be practicing. What I mean by that is, if we have state police, let those in, say, for example, Anambra State, say, for Anambra State of a population that we have, we only need maybe 100,000 state police or 200,000, and want to be sure that anyone who's applying to be a member of the state police force is at least an HND holder. And we can then have the other ranks who are also properly equipped and trained. That way we have a healthy competition amongst states. If you have a state police in Lagos, for example, the likelihood is that they're going to be very well looked after. But then again, we don't want state policemen who will be yes people to the governors. We don't want state policemen who will be yes people to the politicians. And I believe that is the reason a lot of people have been kicking against it. The rules must be clear. We must have a robust debate regarding the state police. It's not about the senators and House of Representative members sitting behind closed doors, fashioning a law for us and saying, here you go, you've been asking for state police, here you are. No, we should have clear-cut rules. And we must have people who must be devoted to the work. State police will not be only about men in uniform. It will also be have informants in the nook and cranny. If you have them, they will report to the police daily. In my neighborhood yesterday, this was what we observed. This is the strange person who has come in. These are the things we need to have. And by the same token, I know not a lot of people will share this. If we need to, we could find some police, forensic police departments of different parts of the world coming to train our people in crime prevention, crime detection, and what have you.
But I mean, I spoke with one of the leaders of Afenifere, Pa Olu Falaye, who was telling the president, who was one of them in the trenches, the pro-democracy agitators, and he's saying, look, you were part of us who are advocating for this. It needs to make restructuring happen. But you hear a lawmaker, a senator, who is proposing that every Nigerian should be given right to be able to have a gun, to be able to defend themselves. Where does this kind of proposition stand in Nigerians being able to defend themselves if you look at the template of the United States?
Now you see what happens in the United States, for example. Guns are available. If you can go to the supermarket, you can buy yourself a gun of your choice. Some people actually collect them. In a place like Nigeria, we need to determine the rules. Who is entitled to carry a gun? Should it be somebody who just walks in from the streets? So, you see, we must have a way of having background checks to determine who's entitled to carry a gun. Because you know what? If you do not know that I carry a gun in my house and you're a criminal, you will think twice. Even if you knock at my window in moving traffic, you will think twice. But the rules, again, as I said, must be abundantly clear. Indeed and in truth, I do not think we are at that point yet. Now look at what we're talking about. We have kidnappers. Some of them, I'm sure, when you see them apprehended, they look like decent people. But here we are, molesting people all over the place. And we must ensure that we get to the root of this thing.
All right.
But for the question you asked, those who must carry guns must be people who have had sufficient background checks done concerning them.
Senior Advocate, thank you so much indeed for your time, for the insight. A bit clearer to some of us now. But let's close this conversation. A lot of Nigerians will ask, in other climes you have 911 and you will call. Is there a short code, or is this the same set 11-digit number that we have to call and cram?
Well, sure. We have that short code 112, but there's no 911 again. I don't know why.
112, does it work?
It works. But now we're trying to have a fusion center in the office of the NSA, and they are working assiduously on that. We had a meeting I think on Monday or Tuesday, an NSA office, they are going to have some of these short codes back so Nigerians can easily memorize them and use them in case there is any problem anywhere. So we assure them we're going to have it very soon. And collectively, the NSA is trying to coordinate activities of all security agencies, including the military in Nigeria. We're going to be having a fusion center, that's joint press briefing center at the NSA office, where all of us, the military, police, and other paramilitary agencies, we always brief Nigerians on a regular basis. With what we are having now, I'm very sure we are going to get it right. We want to assure Nigerians that it's going to be better very soon. They should just believe in us, believe in the system, and let's be more patriotic. That's going to help us a lot.
Well, what I feel, or what I hear about Kayode Egbetokun is that the guy is really ready to work, and I hope that Nigerians get the benefit of the hard work and his initiative. Well, thank you so much.
He's an expert in peace and security studies, so I think he has brought that one to bear for us in the police. And I can say it without missing words that very soon Nigeria will see that we have that police force that is people-friendly, rule of law compliant, professionally competent, and of course service-driven. That's a vision statement of the Inspector General of Police, and we believe that will bring Nigeria Police Force to attain its primacy internal security of this country, and we shall get it right.
Muyiwa Adejobi, thank you so much. He's the spokesperson of the Nigerian Police Force, and of course we've been speaking with Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Kayode Adeluola. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. We take a break, everyone, but when we come back, our attention is on health. Are we getting a real deal from the promises made by President Bola Tinubu during the campaigns? What are the Tinubu agenda on health? We'll be hearing more on that and how to keep safe in this country. Join us again, everyone. Right.
So, there is a small problem. Despite all the entertaining ads we've created for you, some of you still haven't tried our services. Come on. First of all, we are a licensed microfinance bank. Sorry about that. For instance, you can open a business account with us and get our POS with it. It's good for your business.
99.99% reliable. I love it.
Our card, it dey work.
My money no dey hang.
You can open a business or personal account with us in minutes.
Ai na bude na daga wannan kujera.
Our customer care is available. Abi? So, when it comes to reliability, security, convenience, and speed, you only need one bank.
Join millions of happy customers. Download the MoneyPoint app or find an agent near you to get started.
This ad is the MoneyPoint ad. Don't forget that.
For many years, we have secured and beautified your buildings with all security doors. And now, introducing Watson Time German, Israeli, and Turkish doors. Visit any of our factories, reach our distributors nationwide. Think doors. Think Watson Time doors.
You're heading home from work. In the busy traffic, your car breaks down. Car horns blast. Your car is pushed aside. You call for help. Phone battery blinks and dies. You take a cab. Few miles, tire bursts. What a day. Frustrated, sweating, and tired. Nearing home, darkness envelops the street. Wow! Just one house is bubbling with life. Brilliant lights, loud music, smiling wife, all welcome you.
We alone have light?
Yes, it's JRB Solar Energy Systems, my anniversary present to us.
No matter how dark life is, the sun is gonna shine on everything you do. JRB solar inverters, batteries, solar panels, solar street lights, and more. Telephone 0906 752 1111. Email sales@jrbsolar.com. JRB, the sun is gonna shine on everything you do.
Before entering to the university, ask myself one question. What does education mean to me?
Education is a tool to shape my future, fostering critical thinking and problem-solving skills.
Philemon University City Campus, Maitama Abuja, is now open. Visit www.philemat.edu.ng to get started.
Thanks so much, everyone, for staying with us. Now, let's look at some of the promises made by President Bola Tinubu, especially in key areas like education, health, employment, and all that. But attention tonight is about on the issues of health. And what about health? Is also the insurance of it providing quality healthcare for Nigerians. Part of the promise that are being made is that not only that Nigerians will get quality healthcare, is also the fact that the Bola Tinubu government has promised that they will take millions of Nigerians out of health poverty. What is health poverty? Tonight, let's turn our attention to speaking with the Director General and the CEO of the National Health Insurance Authority, Dr. Kelechi Ohiri, who joins us live from our Lagos studio. Thank you so much, Doc, for joining us tonight. Give us an understanding. When this government says taking millions out of health poverty, what does that mean?
Well, thank you very much for the question. So, health poverty, from the way it can be defined, is twofold. First, we look at the fact that most of those who are poor cannot afford healthcare, because a lot of healthcare in Nigeria is paid for out of pocket. About 70% of health expenditure in Nigeria is out of pocket. But there's another dimension to that. And that dimension is the fact that there are those who can afford to pay, but when you're hit with a particular illness that makes you incur catastrophic costs, you're so fragile that that could actually put you back into poverty. So in order to lift Nigerians out of health poverty, we're saying two things. One, we're going to support the poor so that they can afford good quality healthcare. And then secondly, we're going to create a form of financial protection through insurance so that those who can either pay the premium or those who can actually afford some basic healthcare can actually afford that and pay into a pooled mechanism that will prevent them from bearing the catastrophic costs of healthcare should you have an incident or an episode that requires significant health expenditure. So by expanding coverage, insurance coverage to many, you are lifting them out of health poverty, but you're also reducing their level of vulnerability to poverty that results from healthcare expenditure.
So let's get this straight. There are those who will say that how can you insure or give people health insurance when the health facilities and the infrastructures are not even in place in the first place? What do you want to ensure when they don't have the facility? Doctors are getting out of the country in droves. It looks like building something or nothing. It does look. So what are you ensuring when the infrastructure is not even there in the first place?
So no doubt there are challenges. And when you look at a health system, you look at things on both the demand side, which is what do you do to generate appropriate demand for healthcare? And you also look at things on the supply side, where we're looking at the availability and accessibility to basic healthcare. And you have to approach those two things. Now, my colleagues in agencies like the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency are working on some of the things called supply-side care through refurbishing primary healthcare centers, making sure they have the requisite human resources, drugs, and commodities so that when you get to those facilities, you can get basic healthcare. And a lot of work has been done on that. And I'm sure in some instances, we'll have the opportunity to delve in that. But the issue we're trying to address through the National Health Insurance Agency is this. Even when people go to those places where care is being provided, can they afford it? And what can we do to make that care financially accessible? And that's where we come in, which is using insurance as a mechanism to ensure financial protection so that you don't have to pay out of pocket when you are ill or when you actually need the care. And this is not a mechanism that is new to Nigeria. But in fact, by doing so and creating that predictability of financing for healthcare, it actually spurs more people to invest in service delivery. So it's the other part of the equation that needs to be addressed in order for us to have universal healthcare coverage as we go along.
getting health is part of the rights of a citizen. But the question is, for an average Nigerian citizen, millions, over 130 million of them who are living in multidimensional poverty, health is one of those indices captured into the measurement of that figure, of that number. But the question is, how can the average person know what to do, how to go about it? You are saying that if an average Nigerian citizen is sick, what your plan is, or the Tinubu government's plan, is to ensure that they don't have to pay from their pocket immediately when they are ill. They would have to pay forward. Or how do they go about it? A lot of education needs to be done. What is the first step?
Absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head. There's a need for more awareness of the programs that are available. And we're not starting from scratch. In 2022, the NHIA Act was passed, and this was building from the National Health Act that was passed in 2014. And that created what is called the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, for instance, where 1% of the consolidated revenue is earmarked to support primary health care, because most of the conditions for which people seek care are primary health care issues. Now, half of that goes into a pathway called the NHIA pathway to cover health insurance targeted at the poor. And about roughly half of that also goes into creating service readiness at the primary healthcare facilities across the country. So the NPHCDA works with the state primary healthcare development agencies to ensure that the primary healthcare services are service ready by upgrading them to provide that complement of human resources, especially at the community level that goes down to the community. One of the tasks they perform is the outreach and sensitization and education and promotion in the communities to enable people realize that for the conditions that they suffer, that you could actually access healthcare for that. On the other hand, we've also realized that one of the barriers, even when people know that services are available, they don't avail themselves of it. Part of it is because of the financial barriers to access. And when they are enrolled in the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, for instance, working together with our state counterparts, then an education comes with that enrollment so that you can go to a facility, a primary healthcare center, or any of the accredited facilities, if it's the private sector, and actually access healthcare and not have to pay. And that information and knowledge is critical. So that awareness needs to be created so that people understand what is available. And that's one of the things that we've been working together with our state counterparts to actually accomplish.
Right. So let's, Dr. Oyiri, let's get it clear, because my viewers tonight will be wondering, give us practical, implementable actions for the average Nigerian citizen. What kind of ailment for an average Nigerian citizen? You are sitting in Lagos right now. For someone who perhaps may not be able to afford 5,000 naira for healthcare, for example, is there any class of ailment and any kind of health care facility in Lagos, for example, in any location that you can point at that they can go to tonight and get payment and get treated or get health care attention?
So thank you for the question, and let's unpack it a bit. There are ailments that lend themselves to primary health care, which means that if your child, for instance, needs to get immunized for a condition, you can walk into any of the primary healthcare centers in Lagos and you can get immunization based on the schedule. Every state has certain policies for primary healthcare where at the point of provision of primary healthcare, you get basic services. Nigeria has a mixed healthcare system, and the problem we're trying to solve is that such that if you go to a particular facility, for instance, a private facility, where they need to recover their costs, they charge a user fee. And when you go there, it means that those who do not have the pocket cannot afford it. And that is what we are trying to cover, to say, get access to health insurance, because that provides that financial protection, so that when you go to that facility, that either your HMO or the state health insurance authority has accredited to provide those services. And when you are enrolled, you will be assigned to your particular facility that you would have chosen, and therein you would get care that's provided, that you don't have to pay out of pocket.
So Dr. Kelechi, Dr. Kelechi, hold on a minute. So I'll give a practical example, and I want you to guide us through how the Tinubu government hopes that this can work, for example. So give us an understanding. I am Sheung, and I'm a carpenter. I work for myself. I don't have as much to spend on health. But I'm hearing tonight, I'm listening to you tonight, saying that I can enroll for a health insurance that will allow me get treatment even when I do not have money because I've paid for it. So the question is, give me an idea. Let's assume that I live in Ogba area of Lagos. Where can I get enrolled? What is the minimum that I can pay? How much do I pay every month? Give us an understanding in that scenario that I've just given now.
Okay, thank you. So, Sheung, if you were enrolled with a health insurance agency, now you have options.
Where would I find one? Let's assume I don't know. Where would I find one?
In Lagos, for instance, there are several. So let's start with the public provider of health insurance. So the Lagos State Contributory Health Management Authority is one that you can enroll with. But in Lagos, you have the good fortune of having lots of private sector providers, HMOs, that you can actually enroll with through different programs. Now, once you are enrolled, there's a lot of information that is provided to you that if you lived in Ogba, you would know which hospitals and which facilities the HMO has already vetted and already has a relationship with that you will be directed to. And once you are enrolled, you'll probably receive a card that once you go there, you provide your number, care will be provided to you. They will verify that you are who you say you are. They will verify the coverage with the HMO or with the state, and then they'll provide the care that you need to have. Now, it's also important to mention that there are multiple schemes that are targeted to different segments of the population. For those who are currently employed, and one of the things about the Act was that it made it mandatory, although we're still in the process of evolving to enforce that. But what it means is that either the public option in the state or the private option, you will have a selection of hospitals or facilities for which you can access care. Personally, I have benefited from this in the past, and I'm sure you can also benefit from that if you get insured. Now, let me also clarify one thing that, one of the things that we have had in Nigeria, the coverage is still quite low. And right now, roughly about 15 million Nigerians have health insurance. That is just roughly 7% of the population. So we have a long road ahead. But we're not starting from scratch. There have been interventions that have been put in place to set us on that path. And it's a long journey ahead, but it's one that I believe that with the policies
within the next, sorry, doctor, if I may come in. Yeah, within the next 1 year, if you have about 50 million on enrollment, what is the number that you're targeting within the next 1 year?
I do not want to speculate and give any random arbitrary figures because it's based on understanding a lot of detail. One is conducting proper actuarial analysis to ensure that, the premiums that are being, charged, the benefit package is robust enough, etc., to know what's, given the fiscal space, how we can actually get to. But we do have significant aspirations to actually go very fast. I'm looking at certain opportunities that we have. For instance, we have the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund that is geared towards ensuring that the poor and the vulnerable are covered. There's a Vulnerable Group Fund because there's an equity mandate involved. And so it's important to ensure that we look at how we optimize these pathways of financing to cover as many people, to target them appropriately, and then increase coverage. But I agree with you, we are not where we should be, and a lot needs to be done to get us there and get us there in a sustainable way and properly. And that's what we are trying to get to.
Dr. Ohiri, I'd like us to anchor on this point. And I'd like to let a lot of people know, as much as there are a lot of challenges within the healthcare sector in Nigeria, the good side is that there are a lot of people who are also looking to Nigeria, coming into the Nigeria, even from the UK, for health care attention here, and they are patronizing private hospitals here in Nigeria. It's good news for Nigeria. But where I'd like you to anchor tonight, perhaps in 30 seconds if you can deal, there is a lot of discrimination. There are a lot of people who are complaining about the NHIS scheme. And what are you doing immediately to checkmate some of the discrimination that is going on in our hospitals with this scheme? In 30 seconds, please, if you may.
Thank you. So, first of all, the NHI is taking such things very seriously through our enforcement team to make sure that, first of all, our insurance has to be patient and citizen-centered, which means that we will not tolerate any form of discrimination against any citizen based on the type of, or the profile that has been attributed to the person. And so, yes, if there are any such complaints, just let us in the NHIA know. We will definitely go through that. But be that as it may, one of the reasons for discrimination might be the perception that if it is person is covered by NHIA, somehow maybe the premium is not enough, or perhaps maybe it's a particular segment of the population. But it's our policy definitely to fight and to guard against any form of discrimination. And it is particularly so because these are people that are extremely vulnerable and they are coming to receive care at a moment of vulnerability. It is incumbent on us to make sure that that doesn't happen. And it's something that we take very seriously.
All right.
We're addressing and we'll fight.
Yeah, it's one of the promises that President Bola Tinubu made, and we are hoping that those promises are going to be kept. Education, health. In fact, he says that there will be an increase in the budget for health, and we're hoping that those who are poor will be able to access health. Thank you so much, Dr. Kelechi Ohiri, the DG and the CEO of the NHIA. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight.
Thank you very much.
And that's how we anchor tonight on the program. Many thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye-bye.
Take off into a world of casino games and find your new favorites. Play a few rounds of roulette and see if Lady Luck's